Alright, hey everybody, this is Renee Signs. Just wanted to show you here what I've been working on lately. So what I did was started making parting planes for this thing. And, I've never really molded before, so I didn't want to take a chance on one of the bigger parts. So I grabbed the smallest, easiest to rebuild in case all goes wrong. Part, which is the one of the stabs, and went ahead and got some melamine. I guess this is I don't know, 3/4 inch melamine. Ripped it into some strips on the table saw, and then with a miter saw, used that to cut these mitered cuts here, and then I screwed it and hot glued it in place to make parting planes. So basically, kind of the idea behind this is, this is where I'll start making the mold half, and once this half gets cured out, I'll pop off the parting planes and wax up the bottom and make the other half. But got the parting planes made up. Didn't show that because that's kind of a tedious. It took me a while. Never made them before, so it was a little bit of trial and error. And then what I did was I got the stab and fit it to where the parting plane goes along the center line. So this goes along the center here of the leading edge, center of the trailing edge, and say center of the trailing. I'm sorry, leading edge, trailing edge, and then the root. You can't really see it, but here, I'll turn this around a little bit. And then here's the root parting plane. So got it laid up. What I did was I put some tape on the bottom, and then used hot glue to sort of hold it in place. I put tape here so I wouldn't mess up the finish too much. I can just, peel this hot glue off when I'm ready to pull it off, and peel this tape off, and it'll be all right. And after I did that, I went ahead and put these little dots that you see. I don't know if you can see, they're white, so it's kind of hard to tell. But I got 6 of them here. These little plastic dots are basically little plastic furniture feet that you get at the hardware store. They got this kind of nail that you kind of put in. I got a drill and just drilled a hole that was really close to this diameter, and then really I didn't have to glue it. I just press fit them in there, and this sits nice and flush, and it's a nice angle too, so I didn't have to worry about any undercuts here. So these make really good mold registers. So got that from a tip online from somebody. So didn't know how I was going to make mold registers. Went to Walmart, saw these hanging on the shelf, and I grabbed all they had. So I've got a whole bin full of these now, so I'm pretty happy. Put 6 in, and then what I did was I went and started filling up all these little gaps, and especially the gap around here along the leading, trailing, and tip and cord, all the little gaps with clay. Got this all nice and filled up the seam, any little seams that I could get here where resin could soak through. Went ahead and filled that up with clay, got it nice and flush with the parting plane, or as flush as I could, and then just wiped it down. I did put a coat of wax on the stab before I put it in this little rig, and actually that really helped. That helped when I started claying up, because it was easy to clean. I had clay everywhere. It was a mess. Didn't show that, but it made cleanup a lot easier off the surface of the plug. So clayed it up with with a little plastic blade, went around it and trimmed it up really nice, and then wiped it down with a clean rag, and then got ready to wax it up. I got some of this honey wax, so we'll see how this does. I hear it's good stuff. So I'm going to use this as my mold release. I've already put 3 coats, like I said earlier, on the stab. I just put a big coat on the parting planes and again on the stab, so I'm going to wipe that down now. Not really sure how many coats to go on this. I'm going to get real cautious with it and do as many as possible. I figure about 5. I think I'll do maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 more coats on this. I've got a couple on the plug already, but I won't count that as much. So I'm just going to buff this out. I put it down about 15-20 minutes ago. It's dry, and I'm just wiping it off. You can see it buffs out really nice. This can be a little bit tedious, but I'll show as much as I can. Like I said, haven't done this before, so hopefully I'm showing you the first step of a successful mold build. If not, maybe you can learn from my mistake. If you guys know of a better way or have maybe another way, feel free to let me know. I am not above taking advice on this. This is sort of a big experiment for me, and like I said earlier, I chose the the simplest part to rebuild if all fails, all goes wrong. So definitely want to make sure I got this process down before I risk something like my fuse or my wings. That'll be a lot of material and a lot of headache if things go wrong. So this I could rebuild pretty easy. It'll take some time, but it won't be a major loss. Don't want to do that. I've got these guys here. These are my little spars that I plug into my fuse plug, so I don't want to knock those loose. But this is coming off fairly easy. Easier than I thought. I was worried about the hot glue holding, being stiff. I was worried about doing exactly this, just rubbing on it and pushing on it and buffing all this out, knocking the wing of the stab loose, but it seems pretty solid. I hope I don't have any problems getting it off, but we'll see. See how it goes. Hopefully I'll put a coat of resin on this here either tonight or tomorrow. You'll see how this goes. Don't want to rush it. Made these, I don't know what you would call these upper parts. These little upright sections. I was watching B1 Bob's videos online, and he does this a lot. It seems like it makes a lot of sense too. You got these flat molds, and having these upright pieces, all the way around, gives it a nice box structure and makes it a lot more rigid, keeps it from warping. So I'm going to do that. I'll cut this. Once I get all this molded up, I'll cut all this where it's all one height, and then that bottom half of that mold will be a nice little structure, a nice little box that I could use to keep everything flat as I'm working on it. So that was a That was a good tip I picked up from Bob. So, Bob, if you're watching, thanks again for all the videos. I don't think I'd try something this crazy if it wasn't for your videos. So, a little shout out to Bob. But I think that's it for this coat. Just kind of hold it up to the light a little bit, make sure I buffed off all the wax. Let's see a little bit in these corners. We'll see if I can get in there. Yeah, I'm really glad I found these little furniture, these little plastic dots. That's going to make these little register or mold registrations go a lot easier. Alright, time to put that too close to the mic. Hope that didn't cause too much trouble. I'm trying a new mic out too, so hopefully everything sounds good. Let's get the honey wax out. Load it up. I think I put too much on last time. Let's try putting on a little bit less. And just put a nice film so it dries easy. It dries even. This will be on the stab. This will be the fourth or fifth coat, but on these parting planes, this will be just the second coat. So make sure I go around these little mold registration dots. Make sure I get into the corners. This melamine for party planes because it just looked like it was the easiest thing to use, and I've seen some people using it, so I thought I'd give it a shot. It wasn't too expensive. Get a big sheet of it and rip it down. I tried to get them to do it at the store for me, but they won't, at least mine won't touch it. I don't think they like cutting this stuff on their saw because I know it tends to chip if you're not careful, if you don't use a good enough blade. So I was wanting them to cut it down to a more manageable level so I can get it in my car. But I went out there with my circular saw and I had a good fine tooth blade, and I just did it right there in the parking lot. I'm sure I drew a little bit of attention, but I'm sure I'm not the first person to do that. Alright. So that that another coat of wax. Get a paper shop towel, and I can get into this little corner here. I think I should have done something a little bit better. This little corner here has been tough. This one here too. So next time, next set of molds, I might try to eliminate these real sharp corners. But looks like I got it. So let me grab the timer. Set it for 20 minutes. And just let it sit, let it do its thing. this off and do this a couple more times. And then put some surface coat. In fact, I might have some of that here. I'll just show you here real quick. Got a gallon of this stuff, Easy Lamb. I tried it on a little test piece. It's worked really well, so I went ahead and got a gallon of it now. And let's get dented a little bit here in shipping. I don't think I've ever had a gallon of something shipped to me that didn't have something dented, but this is good stuff. If you're doing something like this, I'd recommend something like this for your surface coat. Did a real good job of bringing out the details, rivets and panel lines and things like that. So we'll see how it does on this. So hopefully I start slinging some resin tonight, but if not, it might be tomorrow. I just want to make sure I got plenty of wax on this thing. So until then, we'll see you later.